common questions I'm asked about NRAS are, how do NRAS property investments work and are they worthwhile? So let's have a quick overview, hopefully answer those questions for you. NRAS stands for National Rental Affordability Scheme. This is a scheme sponsored by the federal government to encourage investors to provide lower cost rental accommodation for middle income earners. NRAS properties must be part of an approved development. You cannot convert an existing property into an NRAS property, although you can go back the other way. Part of that approval process is they must be in approved locations, which are good investment locations nearby to public transport, shopping centres and so on. And the key one is owners must accept a 20 to 25% rental reduction over a similar property in the same area. In return, the government pays a tax-free rebate at the end of each year. Currently that's $9,140, and that will get indexed every year, and that continues for 10 years. So let's have a look at the figures and how they stack up. We're going to use a $350,000 property as an example. These figures are for comparison only. Every property is different, so you need to use this information not to go out and buy a property, but to form the underlying basis of a conversation with a proper consultant who understands the details of these investments. So let's have a look at the figures. $350,000 property. A traditional property, you'd get a rent of maybe $360 per week for that property. In an NRAS property, you're going to take a 25% cut, so you'd only get $14,040 rent. I mean, one would ask, why would you do that? Let's look at the rest of the figures. Interest is going to be the same on each property. Rates will go up and down, but they'll be the same for each property. Other expenses are actually going to be higher on the NRAS property because the management fees are higher. That's because management of an NRAS property requires proper vetting of tenants, a more detailed vetting of tenants than you would normally get with a rental property, and that's a good thing also. Your depreciation on both properties will be the same. Your tax deduction on the traditional property is going to be around $16,820. That is your income, less all of the expenses and less the depreciation. So on that traditional property, if you borrowed 90% at 7.4% and all these figures were the same, you'd get a net loss of $4,508 that you have to fund in order to keep that property going each year. Let's look at the NRAS property. Your tax deduction is actually bigger because while your rent is less, your expenses are higher. So you should get back around $6,848 tax refund. And in addition to that, you get the tax credit, the $9,140, which is a tax-free payment from the government. That means that the cash flow for the NRAS property is $1,248 positive, so it's positively geared, compared to a cash flow loss of $4,508 for the traditional property. So as you can see, the numbers really do stack up for the NRAS property.